everyone. It's been a long time, and I'm so sorry about that, but it has been a really crazy month or so since I've made a video. This isn't going to be very long because I took a sleeping pill and I'm about ready to fall asleep now for bed. These sleeping pills really do work, and I get a good night's sleep with them. It just sucks that I can't take them every night. My doctor said not to, because she doesn't want me to get dependent on them, but I don't sleep well without them, so it sucks. Quick update before I go to bed, because on the health front, there isn't much. I haven't had any recent doctor appointments to report about or whatever, except that I don't know if I made a video about this before or not, but the last time I saw my rheumatologist, which I don't remember when that was, I think it was in September, she's moving out of the city, out to Vaughan, Ontario, which, since I don't drive, that won't work for me. Because she had said if I wanted to make the trip to Vaughan, I could continue seeing her, but that's not going to work. So, yeah, I'm going to have to, she's going to refer me to a new rheumatologist. God, this is a horrible angle, but whatever. The reason I haven't made a video in so long is because I found a job, finally, a full-time job. I really was not wanting to go back to work full-time. I was really hoping to find something part-time that still made enough money to cover the bills, because we just can't live off one income. And I had an interview, I think I don't know if I told you guys, but I did have an interview for a nanny job, a couple of nanny jobs that were only going to be, 3 days a week, and they were willing to pay $20 an hour, which would have, even for the few hours I'd be working, like the 3 days a week, the $20 an hour would have made it more than what I made taking care of Kyle full time. And, I really had hoped to get those jobs, but I didn't. And there weren't any more that came up after that through the nanny agency. So that sucked. Because health-wise, those kind of hours would have been better for me, and at least the money wouldn't have left us in a bad financial situation. So unfortunately, I started to have to look back into working in a daycare, and that is where I have been since Halloween. Halloween was my first day of work at the daycare. And I'm working with toddlers, which I usually have always worked with toddlers at daycares, although I was hoping to get preschool, but I had run out of EI, and so we were really struggling once I ran out of EI. So I had to find something fast, and so I couldn't really be too picky. I love the place in terms of the staff. They are fantastic. They're friendly. They work together. They respect each other. They're nice to each other, which, sad to say, 2 daycares I worked at in the past did not have that kind of working environment. The staff would gossip about each other and badmouth each other behind their back, and that caused a lot of stress for me. which probably flared my lupus at that time. So naturally, having the staff that I have at this center that's so nice has definitely put me a little bit more at ease. I mean, of course, I was nervous my first week, but I'm settling in pretty well in terms of the staff. Usually in the past I've been quite shy and quiet, but I haven't been this time because the staff has been pretty good. However, the hours are long. In the past when I worked at daycare, I would be there for your typical 8-hour shift. So, example, if I started at 7:30, I would leave at 3:30. And usually at the daycares I worked at before with a shift like that, I would get an hour lunch unpaid plus a 50-minute break. This center does not give a 50-minute break. We only get an hour lunch, and I'm there 8.5 to 9 hours a day, depending on whatever. Usually it's 8.5, but sometimes it could be 9. Thankfully, I haven't had to do 9 yet. So that part kind of sucks. And being with toddlers, there's a lot of lifting involved and things like that. And I will tell you that by the end of my first week, my joints were so swollen and I was in so much pain. And that was the weekend that I had the Made by Hand craft show. And I think that was probably the stress of trying to find a job piled on the stress of having a new job to get used to, piled on the first week of my new job. I was trying to finish a doll for the craft show that weekend, and I was doing rooting every night after coming back from a long day at work. And rooting uses the hands a lot, and so my hands were in horrible shape by Friday night, just terrible, but I did finish the doll in time. However, I didn't even sell dolls at the craft show, but I did get a lot of interest and a lot of cards handed out. And by the end of that weekend, I was okay, but only because I went up on the Entacort for the colitis. And I didn't talk to my doctor about doing that, but I just thought for a couple of days if I went back up to the 3 a day, because I also started to experience the diarrhea again around the same time. So I thought, what would it hurt if I go back up to the original 3 that was prescribed? And immediately, because it's a steroid, my joints, the pain, everything was gone within a few days. So when I went back to work for my second week at work Monday morning, I was feeling fine and back to normal. But of course, I couldn't stay on the 3 pills of Entacort because then it causes constipation for me. So I slowly, over the course of that second week, I dropped down to 2, and then I went back down to the 1 Entacort a day, and I've been on that since, along with my rheumatologist started me on naproxen, although I haven't really noticed naproxen doing much for me. And in fact, at this point, I'm not even supposed to be taking it every day. I'm supposed to be taking it as needed, but I have pain every day, so the degree of pain varies. Thankfully, it has not gotten as severe as it was the end of my first week. But it's been tough. The fatigue is really bad, especially when I don't sleep well. And it's tough running after 15 toddlers. Thankfully, our numbers have been low, and we've only had usually 10 toddlers a day, but our room actually is supposed to have 15. We just have a lot of kids on vacation right now. But when we've had 15, it's 15 or 10, it doesn't really matter, but 10 obviously is better than 15, but and I'm still struggling with whether or not I should tell my workplace about the lupus, or because I'm just afraid, like when I saw how bad I was at the end of the first week, which was the Friday, I was having a really hard time helping the kids put their shoes on and their coats on, because I had 2 fingers that were so swollen they would only bend halfway, and actually they were stuck like this. I couldn't straighten them and I couldn't bend them fully. They were stuck, and that made picking up the kids and doing all these things for the kids very difficult. And I was alone with 5 kids that day, so I don't know, like I'm trying to figure out if I should say anything so that maybe hopefully they'll be understanding, and that they can come up with ways to accommodate on certain days that I'm not feeling well. The other thing is, it's been a while since I've been in the workplace like that, and every room has fluorescent lights, and I never really thought I had reactions to fluorescent lights until we decided to replace our fluorescent light bulbs in here with incandescent ones, and I noticed a difference, not a huge difference, but I noticed a difference in the burning in my eyes, and my headaches lessened, and the fatigue kind of improved slightly. And I find that, especially in our gym, when we have to take the kids to the gym, and it's nothing but fluorescent lights all over that room, my head starts to hurt a lot. So I've been dealing with more headaches again, and I don't really know what to do about that because the fluorescent lights are everywhere. And in fact, they're going to be phasing out incandescent lights. They announced that, and that's going to be pretty shitty for us lupus people and other people that have sensitivities to that. But anyways, this ended up being longer than I thought, and I really need to get to bed because these drugs are kicking in, and I gotta brush my teeth. So that's where I've been. That's why I have not been able to make videos, because I'm so exhausted when I get home. And just been busy trying to get ready for Christmas. I do have my tree and decorations up. And this weekend is my 30th birthday. Saturday is my 30th birthday. So I'll try to get some better video on the weekend. And I'm making this from my iPhone. I got an iPhone at the end of September, I think it was. End of September, beginning of October, something like that. And I'll tell you guys more about that later too, but I just wanted to let you guys know where I've been, and I'm okay. I'm not dead or anything. I've just been working, and yeah. So good night, everyone, and I'll see you guys in the next video.